Hi everyone, it's me, Rick and Morty. Let's learn about this lore together. Let's go.
There's epic canon in season 5 coming.
Rick,
Canon.
season 5, show me what you got.
Morty? Oh, hypothetical grandson we go on adventures with. You live with a version of our dead daughter.
Oh, wow, you were not kidding, huh?
Wow.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Hello.
The show that doesn't take a 1-month hiatus between episodes, but probably needs to. The theories, they just keep coming. They just keep coming, and they don't stop coming. Fed to the rules, and I hit the ground running. 90s kids will understand. Anyway, I would say that I was annoyed with the show's creators making us wait a whole month to finally get the conclusion of season 5, but the most recent episode of Rick and Morty actually gave us several massive lore dumps to chew on while we were waiting, so as a theorist, can't really complain. Rick Turnal, friendshine of the spotless Mort, try saying that one 3 times fast, actually addressed
I tried. It didn't work that well, so sorry.
There's several things about the Rick and Morty canon that have been open questions since its early seasons, and none is bigger than Rick's origin story. And I do mean the origin story. For the first time ever, we see Kid Rick, and not just a mini clone of Rick.
Tiny Rick!
I am talking about the real thing.
Maybe you can just remember us getting a beer.
See that picture on the wall right there? Rick's parents, his actual parents. I mean, it really shouldn't be that big of a deal, right? Of course, Rick Sanchez has parents, but then again, Rick has always felt like this guy who's just manifested himself into being using his science magic. So the fact that he has real biological parents feels like a much bigger deal than it probably should. Not really sure where he got his blue hair though, considering it doesn't match either of his parents. Guess it must be the mailman.
My man!
But that was just a small detail. What I want to focus on today is his more recent history, the pivotal moment of Rick's life defining who he is. If you remember way back in the premiere of season 3, we were shown the inside of Rick's mind as a Gromflemite agent from the Galactic Federation went poking around in there looking for the secret to interdimensional travel.
Yes, I'd like very much to visit the memory of you inventing your portal gun.
After a lot of talk about Szechuan sauce, Rick then takes us to what's become an iconic scene in the series, where we see a younger Rick tinkering in his garage.
I used to wear blue pants.
Besides his different taste in fashion, this version of Rick seems more idealistic, more invested in his family, and less committed to the pursuit of knowledge at all costs. When he's offered the opportunity to discover the secrets to dimension hopping technology from the other Ricks, he declines the offer.
Pass. Excuse me? Bro, Ricks don't pass on this. Who do you think you are? A different kind of Rick, I guess.
A different kind of Rick is putting it mildly. This version of Rick is at complete odds with the version of Rick that we've come to know over the course of the series. Not only does he decline the proverbial offer to eat from the tree of knowledge, but he actually decides to give up on science altogether.
Love.
Just took a long look at myself, and I don't think this science thing is gonna pay off.
Why don't I get Beth and we'll go out for ice cream?
That, Diane, is the last great idea that will ever be had in this garage.
This woman, Diane, is by all intentions Rick's partner and Beth's mother, and he has every intention of devoting himself to them until tragedy strikes.
No!
This prompts Rick to return to science and invent the first version of his portal gun, presumably leaving to find some dimension where his wife and daughter aren't dead. Or at least that's what we're led to believe until Rick reveals that it was all a completely fabricated origin story.
Made up!
Created inside of his own mind to bamboozle the Galactic Federation agents that were trying to mind scan him.
You can alter anything you want about a totally fabricated origin story.
And so it would seem that Rick managed to pull a fast one on both the Galactic Federation as well as us, the audience. Or did he? Because as much as Rick might like to gloat and claim that this scene was completely fabricated and a product of his own creative brilliance, we know that this isn't true. First, it just isn't how human minds actually work, no matter how brilliant they might be. This is something that I talked about on a previous film theory, but basically new ideas don't really exist. Our brains are constantly remixing everything that we hear, feel, smell, and taste. Research has shown that when we're trying to form a quote-unquote new idea, we're actually just using an area of the brain used for associative thinking and just recombining existing ideas.
Yes, it's just associative thinking in which things that we have encountered, things that we have experienced, things that we know, we learned, we seen, we heard, we know of the existence of it, we understand of the existence of it, and just combine different of this such existence and create, poof, a new idea. Ta-da!
Now, in most shows, this would just be me using real-world science to overreach for the sake of evidence. But in Rick and Morty, these sorts of scientific rules actually matter.
I turned myself into a pickle, Morty! I'm Pickle Rick!
I mean, sometimes. But now, the existence and deaths of both Diane and Beth seems all but confirmed. First, in the Season 3 episode The ABCs of Beth, Rick creates a clone of Beth, hence the origin of Space Beth. During the cloning process, Rick implants clone Beth with all of the original Beth's memories, including the memory of being a baby held by a blonde woman that seems like the spitting image of the Diane that we saw blown to pieces in Rick's fabricated origin story. Then again, in Season 4, we had the old man in the seat, which showed Rick connecting with someone over the shared loss of a loved one.
You need the same thing I needed, Rick. You need someone to give you permission to live.
In the Season 5 premiere, we have Mr. Nimbus referencing Diane's untimely death.
If Diane were alive today, what would she... establish canonical backstory with me.
Notice the phrasing, if Diane were alive today. This isn't a case of Rick merely being divorced or separated from Diane. She dead, son. And now we know that Beth is too. In this
So case in points, this individual is no longer alive today. In story.
latest episode, it's all but confirmed.
You're one of those creeps who moves in with abandoned adult Beth.
Rick doesn't deny it, instead defending himself by saying,
It's more complicated than that. You live with a version of our dead daughter.
this little exchange might actually be one of the most important lines when it comes to Rick and Morty lore. Now, it's worth mentioning that some people have come to the conclusion that this line means Rick cloned a replacement for his dead daughter, kind of like Space Beth. In fact, that was a theory put forth in a video by Nerdist.
We're left reeling and processing the fact that the Beth we thought we knew is not the original Beth.
However, Dan Harmon, co-creator of the show and one of my all-time favorite guests on this show, actually went into the comments of that video to set the record straight, saying that a different version of a dead daughter could also be referring to a universe where she doesn't die. Now, he doesn't outright say that this is the case, and I appreciate a creator who wants to give the fans freedom to come up with their own interpretations and predictions, but I mean, all the evidence that we've covered so far doesn't lie. In fact, this episode not only confirms Beth and Diane's death, it shows us what Rick does in the aftermath. Notice the portal gun that Memory Rick uses throughout the episode. It's a crudely hacked together version of the real portal gun. But it's not just Bird Person having a bad memory of what the gun looked like, it's really an early model of the gun. One, in fact, that we've seen before. Again, in the fabricated origin story of Rick. Rick puts it together in his garage after his loved ones blow up. And that's not all. Check out Rick's haircut in this exact moment. The exact same as the one we see him with in the garage before his family's death. This immediately connects Memory Rick, Blue Pants Rick, and our Rick all as the same person. And we see even more. Later in the episode, we flash through a lot of brief moments in Rick's history with Bird Person, including Squanchy's stand-up comedy night. Notice how Rick is dressed for that occasion? Blue pants. That is not a detail that the creative team of the series is gonna overlook. And later in the same episode,
Killing us won't bring her back.
it's Rick going on a rampage against versions of himself, the ones responsible for killing his loved ones and shattering his world. So basically, the episode gives us a timeline of Rick Sanchez. He loses Diane and Beth just like we saw other versions of himself pop into his reality and blow them up. In his rage, he's pushed to discover the portal gun technology and crudely hacks together a basic device, still in his blue pants. And then he travels the infinite dimensions to purge his sadness. He wanders off into the universe, stealing and selling illegal substances, where he meets Bird Person, whose vendetta against the Galactic Federation gives Rick a purpose. Rick joins the crew, and together they take down not only the Federation, but also the Ricks that killed Beth and Diane. Ultimately, that revenge winds up hollow and, as Sci-Fi Rick says, doesn't bring his loved ones back. So he does what Memory Rick describes as creepy and pathetic. He goes to fill the role of another Rick in another dimension, one where that Rick abandoned the family, so that way our Rick can be with his daughter again, and also mask his brainwaves using a Morty, like Rick said.
It's more complicated than that.
Which means, and this is huge, guys, Rick never left his family in the first place. He didn't abandon Beth as a child. He didn't run out on his family. In fact, in the saddest and cruelest twist of them all, Rick inadvertently killed his family by not neglecting them. Remember, in the memory, Rick's wife and daughter are killed by the other Ricks because he declines the offer of portal tech. He decides to give up on science, and as a result, it gets his family killed. And now he's living with a different version of his family, one where their Rick left and he's just taken the blame so he can spend time with his family again, or at least some version of that family. And see, now I think we start to get to that core thematic dilemma of the show.
I really like it that MadPat just humanizes him. Thank you so much, MadPat. Thank you.
go back to that crucial line one final time.
You're one of those creeps who moves in with abandoned adult Beth.
We're being told here that these versions of Rick aren't merely moving back in with Beth, they're moving in with abandoned adult Beth. Because apparently that's the only kind of adult Beth there is for a Rick to move back in with. This seems to imply that throughout the multiverse, there are predominantly two different kinds of Beths. Those that weren't abandoned by their father, but as a result were killed in infancy, and those that were abandoned by Rick so he can pursue a life of science, and as a result, those Beths survive until adulthood. Of course, there's always a bit of leeway. There are infinite multiverses, which means infinite possibilities, but there seems to be a clear dichotomy here when it comes to the fate of the various Beths across the multiverse, and it all comes down to a single decision made by a young blue pants Rick in that garage. Does he choose family, or does he choose science? That adds all sorts of extra layers of tragedy for Rick's backstory. While watching your wife and daughter killed in front of you is certainly cruel, he's also haunted by the knowledge that the reason they were killed in front of him in such dramatic fashion is because he loved them and chose to put them first over his pursuit of science. The only universes in which his daughter survives are the worlds in which he decides to be a deadbeat dad and abandon her. Who knows, maybe the reason that he has so much trouble expressing his love for his family is because he's racked with guilt knowing that in an alternate dimension, loving his family is what killed them. This sets up perhaps the most interesting dilemma of the show, that the whole series from a thematic level is a battle between family and greatness, meaning and achievement. Rick abandons his family and is able to achieve godhood. And sure, godhood sounds great, but it ultimately leaves life with no meaning. Without other people, all the accomplishments, all the power, conquering, all of it is empty and hollow. Nothing matters. This is exactly what Bird Person calls him out on in this very episode.
The relationship that we have
I never used that word.
is not worth my integrity.
On the other hand, if Rick sides with love and family, he'll grow to resent them for holding him back from his true potential. This is symbolically represented in the show by the Citadel of Ricks killing the family. And it's this dilemma of not being able to have it all, of having to choose one side or the other, that increasingly seems to be the heart of this show. Now, the last thing worth noting is how all of this impacts Morty. Morty is no stranger to dimension hopping and finding an entirely new family. He did it once before in the season 1 episode Rick Potion number 9 after Cronenberging his entire world. So he knows that his current mom is no longer his mom. But the revelations in this episode confirm for us that Rick isn't his Rick either. That is not his grandpa. It'll be interesting to see how he takes the news when he finds out that the Rick he's known for his entire life was never actually his. Will Morty be able to cope with the fact that in his original dimension, Morty himself never existed because of Rick's love for his wife and daughter? Is it the kind of thing that would actually draw them closer, or could all the lies over the years actually push them apart? Well, whatever the case, I'm looking forward to finding out, and that September season finale cannot come soon enough. Until then, remember, it's all just a theory. A film theory. And, whew, I am exhausted. It is difficult to theorize this hard on an empty stomach. Wish I had some Szechuan sauce. Ooh, or maybe some eye holes, or even some strawberry smiggles. Strawberry snibbles, no! On second thought, maybe I'll just stick to my HelloFresh leftovers. Speaking of, I'd like to extend a big ol' thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's episode. For those of you who don't know, HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit service, delivering fresh, pre-measured ingredients straight to your door. They make it fast and easy for you to make delicious, home-cooked meals without all the hubbub of going grocery shopping. And I can tell you, it is a service that I actually use in real life. Roll the clip, unless it's HelloFresh delivering stuff for me and I'm like, I'm gonna prepare a nice meal. That's right, friends, me and HelloFresh go way back. It is literally the only reason I'm able to get a couple of healthy meals out of my weekly diet. Because otherwise, I'm just going to fast food. Ain't nobody got time for all this other stuff. Choosing what I'm gonna eat, assembling an ingredients list, cross-checking that ingredients list with what I already have in my pantry, going to the grocery store, getting it, bringing it back, measuring it, and prepping it so that way I can finally start cooking. And I've already got so much already on my plate between running the channels and taking care of Oliver. I am like impromptu existential crisis on a live stream type of busy. At this point, brushing my teeth in the morning is just like, this is freedom. Which is why HelloFresh means so much to me in my day-to-day life. Not only do they allow me to skip the trip to the grocery store entirely, but they also send fast and easy recipes that can be done in as little as 20 minutes, giving me more time to traverse deep into the depths of Rick and Morty. Or, just sleep. Sleep is nice sometimes. And here's the kicker, the meals are legitimately very good. Last week I ordered this creamy lemon dill salmon recipe that was so good that even my 3-year-old asked for seconds. Do you know how hard it is to get a 3-year-old to eat salmon? Do you? Lastly, as someone who tries to stay environmentally conscious, their individual portion sizes and sustainable packaging actually produce less waste in pretty much every aspect. In fact, according to a study by the University of Michigan, HelloFresh's carbon footprint is actually 25% lower than those created by meals from store-bought groceries. So you can rest easy knowing that in this case, saving time and effort actually does mean less food wasted and less plastic in landfills. So just a win for planet Earth, a win for your life and your schedule, a win for your family. There's nothing else to lose. Click on the link in the description or go to HelloFresh.com and use the code FILMTHEORY14, FILMTHEORY 14, to get 14 free meals from HelloFresh plus free shipping. That is 14 free meals plus free shipping delivered straight to your door. All you gotta do is throw it in a pan and cook, my friends. Don't be turning down free food here, guys. Coming fast and easy and fresh to your door. Thank you again to HelloFresh. Thank you guys for supporting the sponsors of this channel. It helps us keep doing what we're doing here. And as always, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Well, thank you so much for watching this video together with me. I hope you find this video very interesting and just quite unique to watch with all the love, wholesome positivity involved. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel and sincerely appreciate all of the support. But hey, that's just a theory, a film theory, and cut. Thank you. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye. Thank you. Subscribe.